Oh, hey there. Didn't see you come in. Didn't hear you either because you're a computer. All right. Well, I was just here working on this here drape mold bowl thing that I got going on. Smoothing, putting some work into it. But I guess I'll talk about what to do with all those scraps that you have lying around because they're not like, what are they? They're kind of like nothing useful. Like, what's that good for? Well, what do I do with this? But it's all floppy. Can I use that clay? Because like I'm running out, guy. What do you want me to do with this? I have no clay left. It's all pieces. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So you get this out of the way. Get that out of the way. You get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. If you're doing this at home, clean up after yourself. I guess don't leave a mess. Make a mess. Don't leave a mess. So then you gather up all your pieces here. How are we doing here? How are we doing? Let's prop that. Cool. We got a better thing. All right, so you got all your pieces, and they're all kind of wet. And they're still kind of usable because they're squishy, and you can make fingerprints in them, and it's kind of nice. So we're gonna want, but it's got all this air in it, so we're gonna wedge this a little bit to try and get it reusable, to reclaim it, so we can use it again for a different project. There are some videos online about wedging. Watch those because, like, God, they're better than what I'm going to do right now. But since you're here and since I'm here, I'm going to go over this. So we got this like ball of clay. You're going to compress it a little bit, squish, and then you're going to rock it up, and then you're going to shift your hands, and then you're going to squish it again, and you're going to rock it up, and squish, and rock, and squish, and rock, and squish, and rock, and squish, and rock, and squish. And rock and squish. You can also like squish and then do like a little forward rock, which is kind of nice, so long as you're getting that clay to squish. And when you squish, it creates that little squishy part. Some people call this like a face. Some people say that it's a ram's horn, but this is one wedging technique. You know that technique where your art teacher in elementary school said, just do this. It does that. It's called wedging. She lied. This is wedging. So there's a one technique which is like a Western technique in the Western world, not like the West, but like Europe and US. Then there's an Eastern technique which is kind of similar where you squish and then you pull it up and you rotate it. So instead of having that like ram's horn, it creates a whole spiral. It's a much more efficient motion. And that's the wisdom from the East. So you're gonna squish it down, pull up, give it a little twist, squish it down, rotate up, give it a little twist. And again, there are people who have posted videos on YouTube, much more skilled than I am on this, who do a very nice job of explaining it. So I really recommend that if you really want to get it, watch them. Because I'm just another art teacher putting videos on the interwebs. Anyway, whoop, whoop. That's that. And you do this 100, 200, 300 times until you get bored and stop. Let's be honest. But this gets the clay, works the air out. If you have a wet piece and a dry piece, it makes them more homogeneous. Homogeneous, hashtag science vocabulary. Homogeneous, does that mean like everything's mixed up? It certainly does. Everything's an even consistency. And you have a nice ball of clay. Ideally, you'd get all the air out so that if you cut this in half, you don't see any air bubbles or air pockets. Did I do okay? Did I do a good job, Teach? Thanks so much. That's what to do with the leftovers. And then wrap them up with plastic. If they're too dry, you gotta add some water. If they're too wet, let them dry out. You manage the moisture. You are the moisture manager. Say that 10 times fast. Wedging.